myself. I am Eric Vediket. I am the CEO of the Blockchain Supply Chain Association. Our association is about, you guessed it, blockchain in your supply chain. But it's much more than that. For us, it's about moving the industry forward as we all digitize, try to understand new and emerging technologies, and make our industry a better place for ourselves and for the people that we do business with. We do three things at the association. We do some advocacy work, so we work with governments and policymakers to help shape those policies. We do collaboration, so we work actively on projects and provide some resources. And we do educations, events like this today, or newsletters, workshops, and when we've even built a course for logistics professionals to understand blockchain. So speaking of learning, we have a great guest for you today. And with that, just a bit of housekeeping. Please use the Q&A button if you have some questions to ask. We'll be monitoring that and answering that after the presenters are finished, and also the chat. Make sure that you stay abreast on our YouTube channel. We are recording and we will post this on our YouTube and let all the attendees know once that's up and available. So that said, I will shut up now and hand over the microphone to my good friend Andrea Frosinini, and let him introduce our special guest today.
Thank you, Eric. It's a great presentation and glad to restart year 2023. We do it by recapping on last year, actually. So we touched basically and massively in 2022 on topics related to sustainability, sustainable development goal, ESG, because we thought this was a very insightful one for the association in general. So we start focusing on these topics specifically with the focus on supply chain and logistics. And I thought it would be great to restart from some newly acquired friends of mine from Italy, from Genoa, actually, pretty close to my place. And we made acquaintance last year. We started chatting. I thought it would be great to kickstart the year with the presentation of their own platform. And Michelle, Stefano, welcome to this association. Welcome to this meeting, first meeting of 2023. I'll leave stage to you both, displaying who you are and what you're doing. So stage is yours. Stefano, you want to go first?
I go first. Thanks, Eric and Andrea, indeed. Also because we are opening the year. So in Italy, we say, who starts good will continue even better. And that's a very good opportunity. I'm Stefano Negrini, founder of ReLOG3P, and also principal of this young startup.
I'm Michelle Tan. I'm the co-founder of ReLOG3P, and I'm in charge of the human capital growth.
So yes, as Andrea just introduced, who are Michelle and Stefano, and who is what is ReLOG3P? Basically, we got the opportunity to start meeting and discussing end of last year around what we do, which is trying to give our contribution in logistic and supply chain for the industries to be able to practically and actively provide their contribution to achievement of sustainable development goals, ESGs, and a number of other official and unofficial sustainability targets. But a brief introduction. Michelle and I, consolidating collected 30 plus years of experience in international global logistic. Our global logistic meant, in fact, mainly ports and shipping, while with ReLOG3P, our aim is to look at the end-to-end logistics. So also anything that connects, let's say, factories and production of goods to the final user and customers. That's our focus. In fact, to be honest, we should be saying that beside our activities in the past life, we have started to approach the sustainability, so-called word within the industry about, let's say, 15 years ago by now. At the time, throughout the consulting firm, we approached the green ports related. And after that, the interest in this subject kept growing up to the 2021, where we indeed decided to found our own business. So ReLOG3P final and bottom line is again the sustainability in the industry, where sustainability is very important to be mentioning that for us is fundamental, remembering that is not only about how many tons of CO2 we save each year and put such information in a pretty and nice brochure at the end of the year, but is something that goes holistically, embracing anything improving social, economical, obviously, as well as environmental aspect of our industries, but as also Eric mentioned, and finally of our lives. Considering that logistic and supply chain are a fundamental piece of our society, moving 90% of what we use every day, we can imagine the importance of our industry, even in light of the last year's events. But a bit more on ReLOG3P. So sustainability, 3P, people, planet, prosperity as a bottom line. How do we intend to do that? Is throughout the use, ethic and responsible use of the innovation that already the fourth industrial revolution provide us as a powerful means, blockchain, data science, digital twins, name it. We have really a lot of power available already. So use them as a mean to achieve the final target. And for us, ethic and responsible usage of these tools are fundamental, as well as transparency and collaboration. So trustworthy and open innovation is pretty much at the base of what we do and what we intend to do in the coming future. And I would say, as a brief introduction about us and about ReLOG3P, that's pretty much it. Let me close with, as any people starting a new business or a startup, we are one, a bit crazy, otherwise we would not do so. And second, a bit ambitious. Our final ambition is basically to be recognized as company and to have our product, our platform, which we will briefly describe in a bit, recognized as the worldwide one-stop shop for the new logistic and supply chain, which are going to be simple, agile, and sustainable. So that's really easy to say, a bit more complicated to achieve, but we believe in that, and we believe up to the point that we created our startup.
Stefano, Michel, this is very interesting what you mentioned. Now, matter comes to why sustainability in logistic and supply chain. What's actually the difference, if any, of course, between logistic and supply chain? And what end-to-end means? Can you please define this? And first of all, it all comes back to the beginning. What is sustainability in your view? What does this mean? Can you dig out this?
Yeah, let's start from the first question. what is the difference, if any, between logistic and supply chain? There are several views on that, several quotes, several studies. In our case, we see the main two are logistic and supply chain in the modern time are basically the same, or logistic is a mean for the different supply chains to transport goods or even people, if you want, around the world. So talking about the automotive supply chain, the energy supply chain, the food, healthcare. So these different supply chains use logistic to transport from factories to the final users the goods. We actually embrace this second vision, correctly or incorrectly, but that's how we intend. Value chain, supply chains, and then logistic, all obviously correlated one another. So why we have decided for ReLOG3P to care about sustainability in such industry? For two main reasons. The first one is because we come from the industry, so we collected this 30 years of not only experience, but also headaches.
That is a good reason.
Well, if you want, Andrea, I quote Mr. Doug Leone from Sequoia in US, which, by the way, is a guy originally from Genova. He said, normally when you found a startup, you do because of frustration. and that's pretty much also our case. We tried for several years to contribute, and at the end we decided to go on our way. Then you also indicate what is end-to-end logistic, and most of all, what is sustainability for us? Well, end-to-end, I briefly mentioned before, we hear this several times, but as for many other things, there is not one single definition of end-to-end. What we intend communicating with the end-to-end is that we want to take care of moving goods and freights, again, from where production of things happen up to the door of the final user. Currently, we are not looking at the flow of material from the raw material sources to the factories, but this may come in the future. But for sure, we intend to reach the end user. So this last mile, first mile part, which many times is not considered, is fundamental. And by the way, looking at the increase of the e-commerce, we all are very much understanding by heart which kind of troubles are around this last piece of logistics. Lastly, sustainability, I already mentioned, for us is fundamental to consider sustainability holistically, and again, now we even put in our name the 3P, people, planet, prosperity, but we are not reinventing anything. There are hopefully a lot of examples, if we dig in the past, that shows the value of the sustainability, meaning the efficient, the effective, timely, economically viable moving of freights around the world. And if you want, we have been trading, basically our society has been trading for centuries, for thousands of years, and this was always a fundamental piece of moving and communicating between populations. So sustainability for us means to take care of all the aspects that goes around this moving freights around the globe. let me conclude by saying that I mentioned before, 90% of what we use every day is done within logistic and supply chain. We are anyway to consider that of this 90%, more than 60% still today is moving by means of manual operation. So our industry, 60+% is still handled manually, or in the best case scenario via Excel or PDF. So while we are talking about artificial intelligence, blockchain, machine learning, we have to recognize that we still very much rely on manual operation, with everything that means from inefficiencies, errors, unsafe situation, unhealthy situation. And another aspect of this manual operation, number of investigation tell us that 70% of the current workforce, because of this manual handling on the operation, is at risk of obsolescence in the coming few years because of the introduction of the technological innovation. So these are indications that are telling us that sustainability cannot only be getting some CO2 reduction and we are fine and we are not to care about any other aspect of our businesses.
Can I cut in for this aspect? It's just that it's pretty surprising that until now, a lot of people still has no idea about the value of reskilling and upskilling themselves. They still put learning and training out of their plan, even for companies. Whenever there's some budget cut in the HR department, training and learning will be the one that they will freeze. But the value of it, just like what Stefano has mentioned, 70% of us will be obsolete. So we need to really reskill and upskill ourselves to be able to run with the world, to catch up with the technologies. And I just quote that one of our team members shared a very interesting quote. It says like, AI or robots will not replace you, but it's the people who have the skills of the AI and knows how to maneuver the robot, are the ones that will replace you. So we want people to own their career by doing a lot of learning themselves, because the company is not the one owning your own career. So this is part of the sustainability for us as well.
Yeah, and again, we could move on with a number of other examples. Let me close this this part on sustainability, Andrea, saying that actually personally I don't even really like much the word sustainability, although this is our final goal, because it's a kind of, today is kind of fashionable, is a hype, right? Oversold. Everybody speak about sustainability, and I'm not really liking. But as a bottom line, there are other terms that also help us understanding in logistic, and not only logistic, like circular economy or reverse logistics. Somebody today is even talking about regeneration businesses instead of sustainable businesses.
Related arguments, it's just buzzword maybe, but you see that maybe it's hard to find a term that can encapsulate all this.
Exactly.
So, Stefano, I was wondering, you see, for a few connected questions, is there any specific moment for you to create this platform in this historic moment? And let me put myself under, maybe you can go deeper into these, articulate more. Wearing the hats of customers of yours, can you both explain me how your platform works and what are the main advantages that me as customers are getting in? Because, you know, and maybe I'm asking you this, but if I onboard it, what are the advantages of investing in this platform? And secondly, you know, we live in Italy and we know how mentality is in this country. It's very traditional one. I've always done things like this. Why should I change? I would love you to go deep and deeper into this, because we know how resistant to change is our industry. It's both in logistics, both in supply chain, and in financial, related financial work.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, in fact, when we speak with stakeholders, that's indeed correctly, I would say, the first question. Okay, very nice. How you do that? But let's start by indeed explaining a bit more. How do we want to cope with our ambitions, right? So when we founded ReLOG3P, immediately we started to put down the ideas, which then translated into the design and in the development of how we would have done. And this take immediately the form of a collaborative platform. We started from a very basic assumption, which is logistics, like many other industries today, is still pretty much a silos-based industry. We call logistic chain, supply chain, but in fact they are everything but a chain. They are a lot of rings, one close to the other, some is more or less connected, but they are really not an end-to-end chain. So we said, first of all, let's create some virtual table where all the logistic and supply chain stakeholders can sit close to one another, a virtual table, and say, oh, I'm not alone. There is also this guy, this lady, this company, this business, this aspect, which I didn't know, or I didn't consider, or I didn't thought it was that important. So we created the collaborative platform idea as a virtual table. And this platform is meant to, again, put all the stakeholders of the industry around such table, and all the stakeholders we can describe mainly in 4 families. So obviously we have the logistic operators, the private operators, any company, any private business that make business within the industry. We have the public counterparts. We deal with governments, local, national, international. We deal with customs authorities. We deal with port authorities. We name it. So the public chunk, and also the rulers that makes regulations for the industry. That's another macro family of stakeholders. Then we have the academy and the research people, which what they study and what they research obviously has to be in function of achieving results and be landing in real and practical things. So they are around the table as well. And last but not least, us as final users. I mentioned before the e-commerce. We have learned by heart in this past few years of COVID that the e-commerce is really shaking very much the industry in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. So these are the macro families sitting around the platform, and the platform is dedicated to all of them. How we bring forward the target is the platform currently foresees 5 different services or tools, as you want to call, in order to create a seamless journey for these stakeholders, for these customers, to achieve the target of the real end-to-end and sustainable logistic and supply chain. So
I love the word seamless and end-to-end, by the way. I will ask you to go deeper into this, especially end-to-end, because there's a lot of confusion with this.
And if you want, this seamless is the counterbalance of what I mentioned before, that the chain today is not a chain, is a silos base. So now we need to have a seamless flow of goods, of people, of data, of anything. So 5 services, and let me be a bit jokey to explain how they work. We imagine ourselves, we imagine the logistic stakeholders a bit like Alice when they are in front of the gate of the Wonderland. They are extremely scared, skeptical. What is beyond the gate? And then we become the rabbit, taking Alice by the hand and bringing our customer throughout the Wonderland, throughout basically our platform into a seamless journey. So these 5 different features I just mentioned are a progressive path towards the sustainable industry. So basically the first 2, which is we don't have much fantasy in names, but we call Wikilogy because it's a kind of Wikipedia providing awareness to the customer, to the stakeholder. What exactly means logistic, sustainable logistic, innovation within the topic? So we tell them what are the tools already available, the best practices, the standards where they are available, what are the regulations, what are the coming or existing regulations. So all of this information for them to understand, oh, okay, now I'm getting better the picture, and this is done via the Wikilogy tool. Then we continue taking by hand Alice, and once they understood, they get curious and they say, okay, how do I improve in this subject, or this how do I learn this feature? And then get to the second tool, which is Academy. Again, not very fantastic name, but this is a real academy. And originally Academy was ideated to upskill, reskill people. I mentioned before 70% of our colleagues are at risk of obsolescence. That's where we started, but almost immediately we got requests from a number of stakeholders to go down the line to accompany also those young people that makes university or even high schools that are interested in entering into the logistic to be part of this learning process. So we create this virtual platform where we have training courses for learning, upskilling and reskilling the people around sustainability, innovation and logistic, anything that correlate these 3 subjects. That's not all. We basically know also that a number of companies where we work today are in search of skills that they cannot find. So we are creating a marketplace. At the end of the learning journey, we put the learners and the companies on the same marketplace, and then they can meet each other and then make hopefully business together. We understand what is sustainable logistic and innovation within that. We learn new tools. Now we have to pull up our skirts and go into the field and work. And that's where we have the next 2 features of the platform, processes and multimodality, which in fact, both of them works in improving what are the logistic and supply chain processes. One, processes verticalize into such processes. So we go into the sub-processes of shipping, ports, air freight, and any mean of transportation of goods. And to make an example, we want to improve the safety or the efficiency of the operation of our terminal or of our airport. And then we can create digital twin in order to achieve this target, rather than start using blockchain or smart contracts to track and trace our goods moving around the chain. All of these are part of the process feature. Multimodality, as the name says, has a special focus in the horizontal improvement, so interconnecting in reality all the different transport modes, because currently the transport modes are poorly connected. And even more, throughout multimodality, we aim to do this interconnection in real time, meaning adapt the moving of the freight depending on the real current conditions, which can be weather condition, can be infrastructure condition, can be any condition that may impact the moving of the freight. With multimodality, we improve to be able to adjust in real time. Last but not least, we got in React the last feature, which is certify, which has two main targets. The first one, to basically, throughout the journey of our Alice into the Wonderland, we want to be able to show to our customer in any time and in a continuous manner which kind of progress they are doing, because they use our platform into getting more sustainable. So we create throughout data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and some other tricky stuff, very nice dashboard. We collect KPIs and metrics and create dashboard for our customer to understand which kind of improvement they are practically performing and contributing towards the sustainability of their business and of the logistic. And we basically are working to certify officially such improvements. So we're going to have this into the certify feature. All of this is what we have started to create, and we are moving on in creating to achieve the sustainability in the industry. Now, let's get back to the other question. What is in there for me? I've always done that, and I don't see the point. What do I need in sustainable logistics?
The points of all, what do I get in turn if I invest in this?
Exactly.
Most input points in any solution, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's blockchain. We are always constantly exposed to such question.
The first thing that I always try to tackle by answering this question is actually, if I have to make my business more sustainable, I have to spend money to change my business. So the money I spent doesn't come back, doesn't return in a proper manner for me to consider that interesting or convenient. Well, this probably, most probably, is very true if you have a very short-term vision, because clearly logistic, like many other industry, are industry that target mid to long-term investment. Let's just make exemplifying, saying if I am a port, I need to invest in equipment, and this equipment has a lifespan of 10, 20, or 30 years, or it could create a port and airport. So we are talking about very heavy and long-term plan and investment. That's where sustainability says that is bringing the advantage, because when we plan our investment considering also the impacts that our business is having in the mid and long term, then we realize that improving the entire lifespan of our investment will save us for sure money, but also impact on the social aspect and on the environmental aspects. This is a very first statement. How do we make this statement? We have been working for more than 20 years now around lean management or continuous improvement, whatever you want to name it. In general, there are two main fields that continuous improvement actions shows they can bring benefit. One is by means of reducing waste pocket. So everything that we do in a manner that is not bringing value to our businesses or to our life. And the other one is eliminating variability. These two things, waste and variability, are exactly the things that when we make mid to long-term plans, we can design and plan to improve. And this is nothing but creating the baseline to have a more sustainable business, because when we reduce or eliminate the waste and the variability, we don't have the impact, the cost in terms of not only economical part, but also societal and environmental that we do have doing business as we do today. So manual operation, 60+%, as we mentioned before. How much cost in terms of environmental and social impact today? When we need to move our containers from a port to a warehouse, and we get maybe we have the Ferrari of the ports, and we move our container in 10 minutes, but then we get stuck out of the gate because the infrastructure is unable to cope, and we get traffic, and then with the traffic it comes road accidents and pollution. How much is this cost? Do we have business cases for this? So we have very little numbers today. Hopefully, we understanding that measuring data and numbers is key, not only for our businesses, but for our society. We are starting to do so. But clearly, if we make business case only looking at our little teeny weeny part, this is not going to work. And internationally, European Union, United States, Switzerland are starting to basically put burdens around businesses that are not considering these aspects as well. So measuring data to understand what are exactly our impact of our businesses, and taking action based on this data, not only for the short term, but for the mid and to the long term, is the key for us to understand that our business at the end will save the euro and not spend the euro more, as many times we are hearing today.
I guess a pandemic is really a very good example for the businesses to know that they need to innovate constantly and not wait to the last minute, because we can see many companies, they're closing down because of pandemic, because they are not agile enough to really think far ahead, to plan for emergencies. Emergencies just come in one day to the next. So that's where we need to really keep on improving, like lean management in a loop, continuous improvement, to bring your company to another level. So investing in innovation and sustainability brings you a lot of benefits, and not just the initial period where you just spend money but you don't see the benefits.
Let me close with one example, Andrea, because this happened to me as a discussion some time ago, right? I mentioned before, let's say we need to buy a superstructure for a port, which again has a lifespan of 30 years. And still today, the business is done. We go around the market, make a tender, and then decide. But today, we are buying equipment that if we don't plan on the fact that in 2030, we're gonna have regulations making the big impacting companies paying a lot of their revenue because they impact in a negative way, if we don't consider this right now, our 30+ years of investment is already going to be very painful for us in 2, 3, 4, 5 years time. So that's again a very practical example of what we need to consider today, also for the midterm in terms of businesses.
Thank you, Stefano. Thank you, Michelle. This is great so far. A few more questions actually before closing down and leaving space to question and answer time. I know this is no original one actually. You say about what is your company's revenue / business model? How do you get your earnings? From what? From where?
Yeah.
And besides these, what are the first steps you wish to undertake? And what do you need for to scale up as a result?
Yeah. First of all, our business model, we look at being basically an aggregator. So our platform aggregates solutions. So the only thing that we create is our platform and its features. But then we make partnerships with other companies, because right now there are anyway companies that makes very good products or services. It's just that they do for a very limited piece of the chain. We do nothing but aggregate, make partnership with companies that we select that how to say, goes in the direction that we want to go as well. So of the improving the sustainability of the industry, aggregate into our platform, and then sell all the services, aggregated services, to our customers. So our business model, being an aggregator, translating to us making money from either the customers that come to our platform and pay for a freemium model subscription, depending on the level they need, they like, they want, they intend, plus the services that they are going to use. Some service obviously is free and available for everybody as a free usage, and some is under fee. And then we have revenues from the affiliation with our partners. So basically, obviously, their products remain their products, remain their under their ownership, and we just bring our customer to their tools. So we interconnect the tools to create this seamless journey, as we mentioned before. There are, just to mention a few other possible revenues that we also look at, which are related to some patent that we are working on, but the main one is the freemium model of the platform and the affiliation fees we get with our partners. Where are we today, and what we need in the, let's say, midterm to scale up? We basically launch 60% of our features of the platform out in the market as MVPs or beta version, as you want, from September last year onwards. So right now we are pretty much busy in getting together our early customers in order to start gearing up and start identifying already the first chunk of improvements that may increase their customer experience and return. We are active as well in getting together some investors, either from governments or public investor, as well as private investor that has indicated interest in our project. And last but not least, we are extremely active in putting together partnerships for the services that we want to put in our platform. Right now, the main chunk of partnerships are around the academy services, the Wikilogy, and we are starting as well on the processes that is out in the market after 2 weeks, in fact. So it's just launched. These are the three main things that we are active right now: customers, investors, and partners.
We are also active in one thing, in providing personalized services to companies that they want to know how to put innovation and sustainability in their company plan. So we provide these personalized services to them as well, because not all companies work alike. Sometimes we need to do a little tweak to what we're offering, and we do provide this service too.
Great, thank you. So we're now coming on top of the hour, it's a few minutes, and I would love to space the attendance, and to Enrico as well, because he's the logistic and supply soul association. I'm all actually on the financial side, you know Stefano very well because of my background. Know that this is a BSCA blockchain supply chain association. So there is an intersection between supply chain and blockchain. So my question is now, under the picture that you gave us, which is an insightful one, a great one, and thank you so much. How do you see blockchain as a technology being integrated in that picture? And what could be his role? You see, maybe you can display some further steps you wish to undergo in that specific space of blockchain.
The first, let's say, straightforward answer, Andrea, is I mentioned at the very beginning, one of our targets, and not only ours, but of, for instance, European Union and, in fact, at international level, IMO, United Nations, is transparency, right? So tracking and tracing the flow of goods around the chain is key. Blockchain and smart contracts are tools that allows this traceability and trackability of goods. If I have to say, this is a journey like many others that we just started, right? So now we hear talking more and more often about tracking and tracing containers around the chain. Obviously, there is much less talk around non-containerized goods, but also when we really look at the final users, right? So, okay, I want to buy this shirt and I order via e-commerce. This is not visible today yet, because I know it's inside this container, but me as a final user, I don't see that. So obviously, if I receive the shirt 1 day later or 2 days later, this is not an issue. But in other cases, customer may be businesses that pretty much depend on the timing arrival of this good. So this trackability and traceability at the very last piece, not only at the container level, is fundamental. This is something that obviously is to be embedded into our processes feature. Right now, we are also obviously starting from what is existing, so from the tracking and tracing of the containers, but the development has to go also to any other kind of good and up to the single piece of commercial stuff that we move around the globe.
Nice, Stefano, very nice. Thank you so much. We, as I said before, we come on top of the hours. So I would love to leave space to the attendants to make some questions to you both. And maybe to Eric as well, as I said. Eric, don't be shy. So I'm pretty sure you have some questions for Stefano and Michelle. So if you're shy now, you disappoint me, but
Have you ever seen me being shy in the past? No, great presentation, Stefano, Michelle. Thank you very much. Yes, we talk a lot about technology around here. It's part of what you're doing, but learning is even more important. We need to continue as logistics, as supply chain professionals to learn every day to make our industry better and better. Right, so keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you very much. Yes, let's see if the audience has any questions. Hold on here. We do have something. Hey, Ayan, nice to hear you. No questions on my side. Just wanted to thank to Stefano, Michel, and ReLOG3P for what we'll be bringing in our world. And of course, thanks a lot to Andrea and BSCA for their efforts and introducing us to ReLOG3P. Always a pleasure, Ayan.
Thanks, Ayan, indeed.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to hear from you. Do we have any other questions from the audience? I am not shy. Please don't be shy either. No questions, but amazing. Thank you from Amin. Bonjour, Amin. Thank you for your nice comments.
He's your co-citizen by the way. It's good friend of mine is in Montreal, so pretty close to each other.
Oh, well, there you go. Jonathan is asking, how can blockchain applications work with this company? I think we did touch quickly on it. It's about, well, I'll let you answer that, Stefano.
Yeah, basically, it's about at this stage starting to improve and increase the visibility of the moving goods around the globe. So tracking, tracing, this is a very first step that we are aiming to implement. Obviously, we do see more developments in the midterm, but at the very beginning, we're going to focus on trackability and traceability.
Track and trace. I think we all need more visibility in our logistics processes.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions from the audience? So my last question, Stefano, Michel, is where can people reach you?
Well, I will reply in two ways. The first thing is they can go onto our website, which is ReLOG3P.com. And the second thing for the lazy one like myself, if I can share the screen, is even easier because you can scan this QR code. Here you get all the references of ourselves, either social or phone numbers, and I hope that there is nothing in the way for the people to scan.
Unless it's on my screen, because I'm working on two screens, but I don't see it anymore.
Okay, Andrea, you see the
slide? You see? Okay, so it's my side. No worries. Perfect. Emin says that your QR code did work, so fantastic. Merci, Emin. All right, folks. Any last thoughts, suggestions, comments, questions before we close off the session? And I let you know that you should absolutely go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will send all the participants a link to said YouTube channel after the event. Thank you very much for coming. We hope you did learn something. Again, learning is critical. Stefano, Michel, thank you very, very much. Andrea, as always, a great pleasure. Any closing thoughts?
Only thank you also, Eric and Andrea, because it was a pleasure also for us, a great opportunity, and we look forward for more fun together, Eric.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to seeing all the beautiful solutions you come up with.
Thank you, guys.
So with that, we will close the session. Again, we will send everybody a link to the recording. No slides really to share today. Maybe we can share your QR code once again in that email. Stefano will work together. And with that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Good.
Ciao, ciao.